I'm Chris, you're watching FRAG-MENTAL, thanks for joining me. Some people just aren't bothered about compliments. Don't need them, only wear fragrances for themselves. So if you're a person who doesn't care about compliments or videos about compliment getting fragrances, then maybe this video isn't for you, so please feel free to leave. Oh, nobody left. Okay, that's strange. I'm sure some people say they don't like compliments. All right, well, let's carry on. Here are 5 niche fragrances from my collection that get me the most compliments. Stay tuned to FM. I've picked 5 niche fragrances from my collection that get me a lot of compliments. Now, if you didn't stop the video, I can only assume that you also like getting the odd compliment here and there. Of course, we can primarily wear our fragrances for ourselves. I know that I do, but nothing wrong with enjoying a nice compliment now and then. Before we get into the list, can I just say, merch? Yep, I made FM merch, all designed by my own fair hand. Before we get into the fragrances, just let me quickly tell you about the design. So this rectangle is actually my smartphone, Samsung Galaxy S20, and I use that to represent how I consume most of my YouTube content. And I think many of you out there probably watch on your phones as well. This pattern here is actually a vocal waveform that I recorded of me saying stay tuned to FM, of course, and I kind of liked how the whole thing looked a little bit like a license plate as well, so I chose a license plate font. This shirt is an 80s inspired retro design. I loved the 80s, so I wanted some clothing that gave a nod to that era. And this is a shirt with the new FM logo on it that I designed. So there's t-shirts and hoodies and vests all in the store down below. If I'm honest, I kind of just made it for myself. But if you like it and you want to buy some, great. If I see you in the street, I'll know you've got good taste in YouTube content. Okay, let's get back to the fragrances. A lot of the time when we talk about mass appealing compliment getting fragrances, we're talking mainly about designer fragrances because that's what they're designed to do. But niche fragrances can have just as good an effect on people, if not better. So I've put together 5 niche fragrances that never fail to get me some positive attention. I'm kicking things off with a fragrance from Swedoft, and I think this is probably the most mass appealing fragrance from the brand, Royal Satisfaction. Incredibly satisfying, sweet, spicy fragrance. This often gets compared to Victor & Rolf's Spice Bomb and Histoire de Parfum 1899, which in turn often get compared to each other as well. I don't have those other 2 fragrances, so I can't compare them directly to this and say how close this one actually is. Swedoft only list saffron, oud and patchouli. Now there's obviously more notes in here. I pick out some pepper and cinnamon, and they are notes that are listed in Spice Bomb and in 1899. Very, very diffusive. The spices just make this one leap off my skin, and it carries the sweetness with it, so you end up with a scent bubble that is sweet and assertive. Very attention grabbing, very likable. I can't get enough of this fragrance. It just has a real addictive quality about it. Speaking of quality, I feel like the materials used in this are quality materials. It smells luxurious. It's not too pricey either for niche. Swedoft charge €52 for this 30ml bottle. So affordable, satisfying, and of course, very mass appealing. No surprises that this next fragrance is on the list. It's one of the most accessible fragrances from Parfums de Marly, Layton. Another quite spicy, peppery fragrance, but it also has cardamom, which to me always seems to give off this cool, spicy, mass appealing vibe. There's also a bit of fruitiness, so there's some apple in here, and the whole thing is smoothed and rounded out beautifully by vanilla and sandalwood. I used to wear this one when I worked in a gym, and all the girls loved it. Definitely a good starting point for getting into niche. It's a very easy to like, very accessible fragrance, but that doesn't mean that the quality isn't there. I love PDM fragrances because they're always so bold and attention grabbing, and that's certainly the case for Layton. Very easy on the nose, very easy for non-frag heads to enjoy it, which I guess is why it's so mass appealing. Layton's just a superb scent, and I feel like this one is talked about positively more than any other fragrance from the brand, probably because it does the job and it does it very well. Next up is a stunning fragrance from the house of Kajal. This one is Kajal Homme. This is the first men's fragrance that Kajal have made, and they knocked it out of the park. The brand described this one as rich, graceful, sleek and sexy, and I'd agree actually. I think it's all those things. So it's very bright, it's got this really lovely, bright, diffusive nature to the opening because of citruses in here, but they're not zingy, zesty citruses at all. It's all very smooth, all rounded. And this one also has cardamom, which is this note that keeps cropping up in these very mass appealing fragrances. I just think it's a note that is very satisfying to people. It has a base of tonka, vanilla and sandalwood, so it's sweet, it's creamy, it's got warmth and plenty of depth. Of all the fragrances on this list, I'd say this one is the least complex. It is just impossible to offend anyone at all wearing Kajal Homme, which of course is a good thing, because if people aren't offended, you're more likely to get a compliment. The next one is from the house of Navitus. My top three from the brand are Absolutio, Arcanum and this one, Virtus. Guess what? We have cardamom again, along with some other spices, and then there's also tobacco, vanilla and fig milk. Virtus is playing all the right notes in exactly the right order, which is no surprise considering this one is composed by Bertrand Duchefort. So it's sweet, a little bit fruity, creamy, plenty of backbone because of the tobacco and the spices. It does have quite a bit of complexity to it, but it's still very easy on the nose. And what I love about it is it somehow manages to fuse attitude with mass appeal, which makes it a very confident and seductive type of fragrance. My wife loves this one, so of course I wear it quite a bit because it's important to keep the boss happy. Virtus from Navitus is just a beautiful, mass appealing fragrance. Do try and sample it if you can. Your wife will thank you for it. The last one is another one my wife can't get enough of, and I remember smelling this for the first time on Demi Rolling in New York. Wow, that was a great sentence. From Initio, it's Oud for Greatness. This is one powerful and sexy fragrance. As I said, my wife loves this one, but equally I love this one on her as well, so definitely a great unisex choice. It's potent, but it never becomes obnoxious, not even close, quite the opposite. In fact, it's unique, it's attention grabbing, owns the room. If you want to get noticed, then Oud for Greatness will certainly help with that. It has lavender, saffron, oud and musks, but the oud in here is definitely not stinky barnyard. I feel like it's just adding a strong woody backbone to the fragrance. I find it has this sweet, dry, rich quality. It really pops off my skin. I get superb all-day projection with this one. It smells luxurious, it smells expensive, because it is, but it gets the job done. So if you want to grab attention and impress people with a unique and bold fragrance, try and get your nose on Oud for Greatness. Okay, so there it is, a video about niche compliment getting fragrances. Now, I know that some people get annoyed about these compliment type videos. The truth is, they get high views than most videos, and when you're trying to grow a YouTube channel, it's important to get the views. So I try to, as well as making these types of videos, I try to balance my content as well and have some more artistic content. So I hope you don't mind that. And the fact that these videos get the highest views means that there's a lot of people out there that like to watch these videos. I think people who've been into fragrances for a long time, I think people who've collected a lot of fragrances perhaps get tired of these types of list videos, but there's still a large appetite out there for these types of videos, which is why we still keep making them, and they're kind of fun to make as well. And I know it's not all about compliments. I know that we primarily wear fragrances for ourselves, but it's always nice if someone gives you a positive reaction to the fragrance that you're wearing. And even if you're genuinely not that bothered about receiving compliments, then you can read into this video a slightly different way. Compliment getting fragrances are fragrances that have mass appeal. So if you like the quality and the complexity of niche fragrances, but you still want them to be mass appealing, then hopefully you found something of use in this video. And if you have some niche fragrances that get you a lot of attention that you think are very mass appealing, drop those down below. I would love to hear from you. Also down below there is my shop. Visit the FM shop, see if there's any merch in there that you like the look of. We've even got mugs in there, a couple of mugs. I'll be buying a couple of those myself. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, keep tuning into FM, keep smelling good, and I'll see you in the next one.